So when I was in college and I was a gymnast, I stress fractured my shins a couple of times. And so this little series of poses is designed to strengthen the muscles in your lower and upper legs when you're recovering from some sort of lower leg injury. So this wouldn't be appropriate if you had an ankle injury necessarily. This is more for kind of shin, calf injury type of things. So you're going to start on your back in Shavasana. John's going to modify a whole bunch, mimicking if this injury was pretty recent, and then Janice will be in the more recovery stage. So you'll start in Shavasana, and it's just going to be a lot of ankle motion to start with. So part of moving your ankles is strengthening the muscles of your calves. So you can begin there by just circling your ankles, and you'll bring your toes in towards one another and then out to the sides, kind of going for the full range of motion that you can accomplish today. And the rest of your body can just be relaxed. That's it. And so you're trying to point through your toes as far as you can and then flex them back as you make the circles, trying to draw them bigger and bigger. And it'll really depend on your injury level. And if you have a pretty recent injury, always working kind of 50% into what your old range of motion was so that your pain level is really, really low. You go slowly through all of this. Right, now go the opposite direction. If you were going clockwise, go counter or vice versa. And then just bigger and bigger circles, engaging all the muscles around your calves and shins. Janice is very afraid that she's going to end up with big calf muscles from this. I assure her she's not. If you want big calf muscles, I don't think this is going to help with that either. All right, and then undo that and just relax your feet for a second. Hug your knees in, and you'll take one rock or a couple and come all the way up to seated and stretch your legs in front of you. So you can sit with your back up against the wall. It just makes it a little easier. You can also sit just straight up in Dandasana like you usually would. Now have your feet hip distance apart and flex your ankles and pull your toes straight back towards your kneecaps. Okay, so you're going to start there, just pushing the center of the heel towards the front of your mat, pulling all 10 of your toes straight back. Okay, and now you'll do the opposite. Slowly, you'll start to plant or flex or point to your feet. Right? And then you'll reach through your toes, and you can either flex your toes back or you can point them like a ballerina. It doesn't really matter. And then you're going to do that again. Bring your feet back, flex your ankles, push your heels down, and then re-point them and reach them forward. And just 2 more times. Flex, good, and point. Last time, flex, and point. All right, now flex them again so that your toes face straight up. We're going to work on inverting and everting. So you're intentionally going to try to draw your pinky toes back towards your outer knees as far as possible, pressing the inner foot too far forward. Should feel some work in the outer calf. And now do the opposite. Try to pull the inner foot back towards the inner knee so your pinky toes move towards one another. And you'll keep going with that. Draw the pinky toe back, push the inner foot forward, and then do the opposite. Big toes back. And 2 more times. Pinky toes, inner foot. So funny, we never do this in yoga usually. And then intentionally draw the pinky toes back. We're always looking for evenness. And then draw the inner foot, which you're doing by doing both. Right? And then undo that. And then from here, you're going to bring yourself over to all fours. And then John's going to actually come up to standing and do puppy dog at the wall. Janice is going to come into downward facing dog like you usually would. So puppy dog is just downward facing dog with your hands on the wall and your body at a right angle. So feet underneath your hips, hands in line with your hips. And then hands shoulder distance apart. And you press your hands into the wall, wrap your outer arms down, press your inner thighs back. And he's just going to stay here just for a little bit, breathing and lifting up through his quads as he draws his heels down. Janice is going to stretch her calves a little further, so she's going to step her right foot a few inches forward, bend her left knee a lot, and straighten the right leg all the way down, sending the heel into the mat. Right? And it'll probably stretch your calf, maybe even up into your hamstring a whole bunch. Right. And then you stay just breathing in and out. And again, if it's too much, make sure that you come out and back off. It should really only be 50% or a little bit more or less than that when you're rehabbing something. And then step back into regular down dog, and you'll do the other side. Step your left foot forward, bend your right knee, straighten your left leg. Good. All right. And then just a few breaths. Good. And then step back into regular downward facing dog if you were in it. Okay, now John's going to actually take his right leg back and just take it back about 6 inches or so, maybe a little bit further. Put a bend in his left knee and keep the right leg straight. Now, if that stretches your calf, fine, stay there. If you need more, you can move the foot further and further back until you get a really big stretch in your calf. Okay, Janice is going to walk her hands back to her feet and grab her elbows hanging forward right here. You can bend your knees a little bit. You can keep them straight. Stretch the back of your legs. And John's going to actually switch sides. So step your left foot back, bring your right foot a little forward, and then step your left foot back as far as you need to get a stretch in your calf. You're looking more for that than a stretch in your hamstring here. Good. All right. And then step your foot back. And then walk yourself forward if you're in puppy dog and stand all the way up. Right, and then Janice, bring your hands to your hips and inhale, stand yourself all the way up. Right, Janice is going to stay away from the wall. John's actually going to use the wall, so spin around like how he's facing the wall, like he's in the corner being in trouble in 2nd grade. Right, so you're going to have your feet hip distance apart and about a foot away from the wall. You're going to leave your tush on the wall. And then you're going to fold forward and drape yourself over your legs. You can bend your knees a little and move your feet a lot further forward, actually. There we go. You can bend your knees if that's too much on your hamstrings or your legs, and then grab your elbows and hang there. Janice is just going to fold back how she was a second ago and bring her hands underneath her shoulders. Right. Now, both of them are going to start to engage their shins a little bit. So you're just going to pick your toes up and pull them back towards your shins somewhat. Come up onto the heels a little bit, and then you'll set them back down. And then you'll do that again. Pick your toes straight up back towards your knees, and then set them all the way down. And you'll just do that 2 more times. Pull your toes back, come up onto your heels a little bit, and then set that back down. And 1 more time. Pull your toes back, heels down, and then set that down. Bring your hands to your hips and bring yourself up to standing. Okay. And then you're both going to step away from the wall, and you're going to grab 2 blocks and put them in front of you just a few feet, shoulder distance apart and really tall. Good. Okay. Hands to your hips, feet hip distance, standing. What are you doing, Janice? Stand up. We have to make it a little yoga. Inhale, chest up. Exhale, fold forward, put your hands on your blocks. And then inhale, pull your chest forward. So John, move your blocks back so they're under your shoulders. There you go. Okay, now we're going to do the opposite of that, and we're going to combine it together in a second. So from here, you push your hands down, and on an inhale, lift your heels up away from the floor. Come onto your tiptoes. And then exhale, set your heels down, shift the weight back, and pull your toes up towards your knees. And then do that again. Feet down, heels up, and then set them down, shift back, toes up. Good. And then toes down, heels up. And you can do it 5 times. So that was 2. Good. 3 more. Up you go. And down, and pull them back. Make sure you're tracking them straight ahead. And last 2, lift up. Good. Lower down, pull it back. Last one, up you go, and lower, and pull them back, and set them down, and bring your hands to your hips, and flat back to stand. Good. Okay, now you're going to turn around and face the wall. You can get rid of your blocks for now. We're just going to do a couple more toe raises, but you'll do them standing now. So stand facing the wall with your fingertips on the wall, feet hip distance apart again. And then 10 times, all you're going to do, and it seems super simple, but it really does strengthen your shin muscles, which will help with protecting them. On an inhale, you'll lift your heels up, coming onto your tiptoes, balancing evenly from your big toe to your little toe. And as you exhale, you'll lower your heels back down. And you'll just keep doing that. Inhale, lift your heels up, and exhale, lower. Right? 10 times, so just keep on going. Make sure that you pull your belly in a little bit. You use your core muscles so you're well supported. So I had this happen twice when I was in college. I did a lot of these toe raises. Now my shins are very strong. I could pick library books up with them. I don't know why library books are heavier than regular books, but they are. Right, and then once you're done with 10, you'll just stop and pause. And you're going to turn yourself around. And we're going to do chair pose at the wall. So you'll stand with your feet a good thigh bone length away from the wall. It's like a foot or so, maybe a little longer. Right. And then you're going to bend your knees and sit back until your pelvis and your back hit the wall. Good. Okay. And then from here, you're just going to hold. I was going to make them go up and down, but I'm not. Right? So you'll keep your knees facing straight ahead. Hug your inner thighs together without letting that move. And bend your knees, dropping your tailbone straight down the wall. Good. Now keep a weight in your heels for a few breaths and your entire foot planted on the floor. And then we'll do just a drop more of what we've been doing. Right, so keeping everything else like it is, pick just your toes up off of the mat, just your toes. That's way more than your toes, dear. There you go. And then set your toes back down. And then do that again. Pull your toes up and put them back down. Do it 3 more times. Pull them up and put them down. Last 2. Good. 1 more. And then press yourself up to standing. Ah, not as easy as it looks. All right, turn around and face the wall. So we're going to do tree pose just to work on balance and stability. So again, if your injury is pretty recent and it's not okay to balance on one leg yet, you're just going to bring your foot to your ankle. So with your hands on the wall, lift up through your kneecaps. You're going to shift into your left foot slightly and either bring your right foot to your left ankle, geez, I can't talk, or bring the foot all the way up to the inner thigh, but have both hands on the wall to start. And then squeeze the foot and the thigh together, or the foot and the ankle together. And then you're just going to play with taking your hands off of the wall and maintaining balance. Right? So it's a little bit easier than it usually would be in the center of the room, but when you're recovering from an injury, it's important to go really slowly. And balance builds incredible strength in your legs and your core. Good. All right, and then bring your hands back to the wall, lower the leg down, and we'll do the other side. So stabilize the foot, lift up through your right thigh, pick your left foot up and put it to the ankle or to your inner thigh, and then hands just on the wall to start, draw the belly in, and then play with taking them away. And you want to make sure you do both legs, even if your injury is on one, so that when the injury is recovered, you're even from left to right. They used to just rehab one leg at a time, but it creates an imbalance that ensures the other leg will probably get injured. Good, you too. All right, and then hands to the wall, lower your leg down. You're going to take Viparita Karani, your legs up the wall, to rest after this. So sit all the way down, bring one of your hips to the wall. You'll swing your legs up the wall. And then once you're there, you have to make sure the back of your pelvis is on the floor and it feels like your sit bones are releasing downwards instead of up. And if that means moving a tremendous amount away from the wall, that's fine. And then feet hip distance, and just let the weight of your feet, your legs, push your pelvis flat onto the floor. You can close your eyes to rest. So just taking your legs upside down. One of the really nice things about it is it moves the lymph around your body, which is your healing system. And so if you're trying to heal your legs, this is a great way to get some new blood supply and some new lymph in there. And then you'll just rest, and you'll keep doing this until your leg is healed. And when it is, you can go and do all the other sequences on the site. Right? Shavasana.